So Fawad is asking, I'm a software engineer who got laid off recently. How does that impact my H-1B status right now in 2025?
Fawad, I'm sorry to hear that. What the so if you have no other ability to move over to a dependent visa, then and again this isn't legal advice, it's information. So you should always have a consultation to with an immigration attorney to verify your situation. But for the most part, when situations like this have happened, my firm has suggested to the individual to maybe move over to maybe a B2 temporarily as they're closing down their maybe their home and their their effects and things like that as they're maybe not so that they don't have any unlawful presence time and they don't overstay and to buy them a little bit more time to close up and potentially and or find other employment to switch to. But for the most part, when you're no longer employed, you're not being paid, you're not technically being employed, you really need to either leave the United States or switch to another visa immediately. We also look to see, is the individual married, and would they be able to move over to like a dependent visa. There's also the possibility of maybe switching to an F1 if you get accepted to a school and can do a change of status to an F1 as well. That could work when strategy of being able to be eligible for an OPT at a different level if you hadn't been eligible for, if you haven't exhausted those OPT education levels already. So those are some of the things I think about immediately with this type of fact pattern.
All right. Thank you, Ruby, for your answer and taking up this question. Fawad, I hope you got your answer. And in case if you have any other question or follow up, then please go ahead and put them on the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do it right now. Okay, David is here. Hi, David. And your question is, how are international travel and H-1B visa stamping being impacted by consular delays or policy updates this year?
Well, we sort of covered some of that at the beginning, where there's some changes where they're not allowing, they're limiting extremely the third country visits and stamping at consulates for the non-immigrant and the immigrant cases. Also, with the government shutdown, which we're into a week of that tomorrow, that there are certain services that are not going to be provided or funding will start diminishing. And so that's going to cause more delays. I think I saw something right before we got on about the administration and funding for back pay for federal employees. It doesn't look very good for the employees. So when things like this have happened in the past, what happens is sometimes the employees start leaving because of so much uncertainty. And then what happens is that this processing gets slower. And right, I forgot what year that was when there was a fear of furlough for DHS, USCIS. It was in August of maybe, I don't know what year that was, during the Trump administration. A lot of it, officers decided to start leaving because there's so much uncertainty. And so why I'm bringing that up is that we're dealing with the changes that were announced before the shutdown were about the limiting the stamping into your primarily your own country, which can cause delays. Plus, also depending how far away your home country is from the United States for those stamps. But also with the government shutdown, we're not sure how long this is going to last, and it's going to start causing the slowdowns. There's usually times, and that's another thing that happened under the Trump administration. This one is that they were making a lot of these interviews more required, right? Because under Biden, they were starting to do visa interview interview waivers so that you didn't have to go back if you'd been previously approved unless there was an issue. And that was a way to increase efficiency. So I guess the short answer to what I just said is probably more delays and probably more uncertainty, especially as the government shutdown continued.